What is going on, everyone? The wait is finally over. Welcome to the season premiere of Our Smooth Club, the show where everyday men discuss everyday topics. I'm Arrington Gavin, and I am the CEO of Rugged Evolution Beard Care. And alongside with me are some of my good friends, great business owners, and just all around, just great guys. I have Mr. Andre Marable, founder CEO of the Travel Pack Club. I have Mr. Sorry, I have to work on this one. Model, host, fashion designer. Am I forgetting anything else?
No,
okay, I'm not. Okay, creator of the Dapper Luke collection, Mr. Dapper Luke.
Sure.
And then this guy, man, I've known this guy since I was third grade. He's been my bro. He's always been there for me, man. Business owner, co-host of Rugged Evil TV's What's Going On Wednesday, Mr. Jonathan Jones. Fellas, how's everybody doing today?
Pretty good, man. Good.
Are you guys as excited just as I am?
Oh, yes.
Been,
We back. We ready to kick it off.
All right. The world's been waiting. So, guys, I want to, start this off by talking about the year 2020. I'm gonna work on my walk 2020. The year 2020.
I need to take a drink to that.
Take a sip to that.
It's probably one of those years that we all want to forget, but it's going to be a historic and memorable year for everyone. Impacted the world, not just the U.S., but the world. I'm talking like, okay, let me backtrack it. January started. Everybody has their New Year's resolutions going. Right?
New year, new me.
We excited. New decade.
2020. 2020 vision.
Exactly.
That was a big one.
2020 vision.
Man, let me tell you this. We got hit with some of probably the saddest news. Like at the end of January, one of the greatest athletes of all time, the greatest athlete of all time, Kobe Bryant. We heard about the sad, tragic death of him in a helicopter crash alongside with his daughter and several others. And it was a crash, but it's like that was his everyday thing. He always did, it was just
he was a player.
It was so sudden and shocking. And I honestly, I don't know about you guys, but I had the same reaction like when Michael Jackson died. I just, when you're like, what? How? That's unreal. And you could see Kobe just enjoying his retirement, man. You can see him. The man won an Oscar. The man was coaching his daughter, who was in the, upcoming to be the female Black Mamba. Like he really was just enjoying his family, enjoying retirement. Brought so much sadness to the world, right?
Yeah.
Then here comes March. We were warned about maybe a potential like flu-like sickness in coronavirus. I'm not gonna lie, I did not take it serious because I'm like, we've had Ebola, we've had swine flu. I just figured it's gonna come and go. Maybe last a couple months, it's come and go. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. Matter of fact, I was wrong because I remember it was the Utah Jazz game. I think they were playing OKC. And Rudy Gobert, who we didn't see playing, they put everything on hold. We're like, what's going on? They said Rudy Gobert was sick. So I'm like, okay, well, what's going on exactly? They said he got it. So what they did, they canceled that game. But they end up, it was another game, I think, going on that same night. Another player tested positive. Adam Silver said, no, you know what? We're going to cancel the rest of the season. So we're like, what? Like, It was already like, wow, this is really serious. So NBA season closed. March Madness closed, which really broke my heart. I mean, you talking about the money NCAA lost. They closed. Then they started going to schools. People couldn't graduate. They canceled graduations. They canceled what else? The Olympics got canceled. I mean, everything was on lockdown, right? We all were permitted to really go outside. Everything was closed. Businesses got hurt the most. Major corporations, unemployment rate on an all-time high. To make matters even sadder, we had another story to add to the collection of an unarmed African-American being killed by law enforcement, right? And I'm talking about Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. And it hit deep for me because the world was pissed. The world was like, man, I'm frustrated about this. They had the protests. So in my lifetime, I never thought I was ever gonna see or even witness a protest going on. Like it blew my mind to that level. Yeah, because I mean, you had the protests going on not just in the United States, but around the world. I mean, in Europe, everywhere, and they knew it was not right. Now, I'm not speaking on the people that were vandalizing, but it was just at that level where it's just like, this is all just going crazy right now, and and I guess it hit me deep even more because in that same year we lost John Lewis, who was a civil rights activist who fought for civil rights. So this would really never happen. This man did that when he was in his teens. This man passed at the age of like 80 or 81. So his last few months, he had to witness all that going on. So it's like, Man, I wish, but I would say it was a memorable picture seeing him standing on Black Lives Matter Plaza. That was something really special. But it was just it was a lot, guys. It was a lot. Then you had the election, one of the strongest election record numbers, early voting, and record numbers, early voting, and it was a lot going on. And what am I forgetting? Oh yeah, and Kanye West wanted to run for president, but I don't want to spend whatever he wanted to run for president.
I mean, so like I guess we each kind of have an individual 2020 story. And like for me, I retired from the Navy after 22 years of service in January of 2020. And my goal was to move from the military to, the Dapper Loot collection, the brand, designer, things of that nature. So when the Kobe incident happened, I was actually in Bangladesh. I was out of the country. And so for me, I found out on social media and through my children, they were like, Dad, Kobe just died. And I was like, hold up, Kobe just died? Are y'all sure? And that unfortunately was one of the times where social media took over, right? His wife found out through social media that her husband and her daughter died. That's not the way you want to find out that your husband and your daughter died, but that just kind of shows the effect of social media at the time. And then, the next thing you said was the coronavirus. So I was in Algeria, right? And I was launching my collection. I was okay, this is my international debut. And I'm going to go do 5 countries and showcase my collection. I launched in Algeria, and that's when Corona really hit, which was in the beginning of March. And it was like, okay, you're either going to come home right now, or we don't know when you're going to come home. So I literally got 1 country knocked out, had to cancel my entire itinerary, and I had to do the entire thing, pretty much from my office. Like everyone, if anything, 2020 has pretty much showed us and taught us, like, if you don't truly love what you're doing, if it's not a passion, then why are you doing it? You know what I'm saying? So you had to learn new ways to get yourself out there, doing virtual meetings, doing virtual consultations. And, towards the end of 2020, I did a virtual fashion show, and it just kind of
a very successful virtual fashion show.
I appreciate it.
I'm not gonna lie. That was the best thing I saw. Tough too. It was awesome.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it really kind of brought the hustler out of each one of us. It's like, okay, am I doing this because I like it? Am I doing it for the money, or am I doing it because it's a passion? Because if it wasn't a passion, you found all the reasons to go ahead and stop, quit. I'm not, this ain't for me. In 2020, everybody was like, you know what? You're right. Leave that alone, So,
well, I'm glad you started that off, Dad, because I was going to ask you guys, how has 2020 impacted your life? How does it change the narrative on things? Because I would say I was one of the fortunate ones too, because I was actually in California in February, like towards the end of February, and at the time, through the whole COVID process, California, that was one of the hot spots.
That was one of the first ones to get hit.
Yeah, them, New York, Florida. And I mean, I have a lot of family in New York, and I was always keeping in contact because what we do, my family now, we go to New York like 1 trillion times a month. I'm a diehard Knicks fan. Y'all keep y'all comments to yourself. I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I love, I just love always visiting the city. Couldn't do that. I thought about maybe doing a cruise trip during the summer. I couldn't do that either. So it really just blew my mind. And on top of that, on a business standpoint, I attend, a few like in-person events here and there. Like, once I go to Atlanta for an event and show, and all this stuff had to be put on hold. So like Dab said, learning more virtually and getting, kind of changing the whole narrative on things. I had to get creative, man. I had to, and I was not worried at all. I just said, you know what? Because fortunate for me, I have an e-commerce site. So Regular was just online. Yeah, we are sold in storefront brick and mortar stores as well. But which that had got hit, mostly because again, nobody wanted to have the crowd sizes and stuff. But it was a huge adjustment to kind of get used to the new norm. It really did, and it hit a lot of, like I said, you think movie theaters got hit the worst, malls got hit the worst, a lot of brick and mortar stores that got hit the worst, unemployment rate on an all-time high. So that being said, fellas, how has it impacted? How has it
definitely me because I have a travel business, so travel is pretty much stopped. But the positive thing about coronavirus is I have made so many connections virtually online through avenues I would never had those doors open for in the past. So,
exactly.
So yeah, it's been a big help. And then the other thing too, I spend more time with family now. So that's because I'm always ripping and running, but that time gave me time to spend time with my family and just enjoy life,
So to a point, it kind of had a, and not saying COVID had perks, but it kind of, it helped you to stay in, kind of let you, chillax with it, just calm down. Let me kind of revamp everything. Let me just breathe. Cause before then you were ripping and running.
Right.
Yeah. So JJ, how about you?
2020 is definitely the biggest eye-opening, I think, year that anybody can say that they had in a while, just based on like you said, like Kobe dying, like something tragic like that. Like we never thought Kobe's gonna die.
No.
We never thought Kobe was
one of the
gonna
most
die.
healthiest guys.
Because
out
I
there.
mean, just like Bill Russell, like one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Like you can go up and you can still talk to and see Bill Russell. Like to me, I saw Kobe as like a Bill Russell. Like he's gonna be like 80, 90 years old, still in the stands, like still talking to other up and coming players. And they can be just talking about, yo, I remember when Kobe did this 30 years ago. Like,
and the league was so hurt, man. I mean, you saw when the guys hurt out, everybody was crying. I mean, really, it's still to this day. I can't believe it because it's like, man, it's just Kobe. You see Shaq all the time. You see all these guys speak. I'm like,
that's what I'm saying.
I feel like
Charles Barkley.
Barkley.
Yeah, so like that, and just like how we all had to slow down, like you're not going through the motions and stuff like that of your daily activity. So like slowing down and like looking, to me, like it made me look to the future more. Is where you have that slow period where you actually can sit there and plan stuff out. And I think it just like maybe opened up my future more. I feel like.
And real quick, guys, I didn't want to really talk too much on it, but we did have one of the most important elections, really that's still going on, but one of the most important elections, and a lot of newcomers, it was their first time voting. You had, Snoop said, hey, look, this is my first time voting. Shaq was first time voting. Early voters had went up in the millions. I mean, as far as record numbers, when you heard that Kanye was running for president, what was your first thoughts? I'm just curious.
No way. He ain't gonna make it.
That was real quick. That was quick, Andre.
If anything, that was a very big distraction. At the end of the day, yes, anybody can run for president. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's a big thing to run for president. But during the 2020 election, I don't think we needed that level of distraction. If you're going to do it, lay out a full-fledged plan. Don't be essentially another person that was already in office. You know what I'm saying? Somebody they felt was not qualified and was just in the office for, I guess, because you said he couldn't, which at the end of the day, the president is the president of the United States. We all are all members of the United States. We want to make sure that we are properly represented and taken care of. And so I just felt like that individual, Kanye, was not about that. It was more of a personal gain than actual helping anything countrywide happen.
I'm not trying to sound like the biggest hater of Kanye, which I'm not. He has a amazing musician, right? Amazing artist.
Can't deny that.
But Kanye has too many moments for me. This is a guy that went up on stage with a bottle of, I don't know what he was drinking, and slapped a bottle of Henny. Slapped a award out of a country star's hand and say, look, you did all right, but B, that was your award. I'm telling you that right now. Get this man. But he want to run for president. Give me a break, man. Give me a break. But and then on top of that too, you saw his rally. He was like in the underground, like tunnel with a bulletproof vest. I'm like,
and he started going off and getting emotional.
I was like, oh, geez, you're killing me. But
one thing I can say, people are definitely looking forward to next year, 2021.
Oh, yeah,
that's all we got.
right now, exactly. We just went to the new year, man. All right, guys. Well, look, we got some more topics going on for you on this show. Again, this is the season premiere of Our Smooth Club, the show where everyday men discuss everyday topics.
Welcome back to Our Smooth Club. Next topic is, I'm like a big movie guy.
Okay.
And so, they have the discount Tuesdays, or it's like what, $6-7 for a movie ticket. I'm always going to that. And like now can't go to movie theater, man. Like
Netflix it is.
Yeah, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, Amazon. And I'm a big movie guy. So what is the one movie that you can watch over and over again and not get tired of, and why?
For me, Coming to America. Like I've always been an Eddie Murphy fan, right? And so for me, I'm going to age myself really quickly, but like I grew up in the VHS era, all right? Before DVDs, you had the VHS tapes. And I remember my uncle, my mother's oldest brother, dropping off the Coming to America VHS tape to my house, right? And we just watched that thing over and over. And even to this day, they have it on BET, they have the reruns. But like, to me, that was just like very just Eddie Murphy. Like Eddie Murphy back in the day was like one of my, favorite comedians. And he just went all out, like with the different characters. Like, he has, Eddie Murphy has a very
he's a legend. He's
broad,
a legend. Yeah, he really does. He's a legend.
Like people don't know he wanted to be an R&B singer at one point in time, so he did the party all the time.
Oh my gosh. Party
all the time, But I mean, for me, like that is my movie. Like to this day, you turn it on, I will watch all the way through. And I'm probably gonna sit there and I'm gonna say word for word what he's saying, but like that's my movie. So yeah, definitely Coming to America for me.
Man, I'm at a toss up between Norbit, which is another Eddie Murphy movie, memorable, and Soul Man. It was Bernie Mac's last movie before he passed. Bernie Mac and Samuel Jackson. First of all, Bernie's like one of my all-time favorite comedians. I can watch that too. And again, I can name every word, but I can't with Norbit. So it's really a toss up between those two. I can't give you one, but it's between Norbit. But I'll just say Norbit is so hilarious, and again, it shows his creativity, Eddie Murphy's creativity, because again, this man can play serious roles. He can play comedy is his first love, but he can play serious roles, comedy, back and forth,
action.
Just, I mean, again,
Beverly Hills Cop,
Beverly Hills. Oh man, I mean, come on, all of them. I mean, he is so funny, and I remember when he came out with Dolomite. I'm like, the world was ready for that because he took like 8 years or something after that. So yeah, I would say Norbit for that right now. Norbit's right that one I can always watch.
Andre?
My movie is Fast and the Furious. I like the whole series. Like, when April comes around, I'm ready for it. I'm in the theater, the first one in there. I just can't get enough of it.
They got too many of them movies. We're going about 10,000 now.
Yeah, man, I watch all the time.
But the one thing about it, it's like, it's one of those things where each time it comes out, like there's new technology, right? As far as cars and even in movie making. So and they always take advantage of the new technology, the 360 cameras and the digital effects and the, and then every little upgrade I feel like they put in there. So I think that particular franchise can thrive because
everybody wants to see the
of the
version.
Technology. They take advantage. It's not just the storyline and the characters. It's also the newest cars, the newest technology, the newest cinematic technology. So I think that particular franchise is going to be around for a while. Even when they lost the major, guy in the franchise, they did a spinoff, with the
that's
The Rock and Jason Statham, Hobbs and Shaw.
It was good. I mean,
we don't.
We don't count. We don't. That's not so for the die-hard Fast and Furious, do we count Hobbs and Shaw? No, it's not. No,
still haven't watched it.
Right on. I just want. Okay, gotcha.
For me, it's Too Fast, Too Furious.
Okay.
Fast and the Furious started me. My passion for cars. Too Fast, Too Furious, just the whole Miami vibe. There's so many lines. Tyrese and Ludacris. That's when they joined in there. It just added the funny aspect, but it's still about cars. And Like now, the later ones, man, it just doesn't hit the same.
Low key, that's the easy check for Tyrese, man. Ever since Tyrese got on that, because Tyrese, he makes some hits. Don't get me wrong, he's a good musician, but it's a good thing.
The second one for me,
he's getting paid good.
Oh yeah. He's like,
that's the one thing I think Hobbs and Shaw. It went away from the Fast and Furious, and it went to like the action hero type mentality. We saved the day. Whereas Fast and the Furious was about the racing, the cars, no matter what. They always had a race in there. They always had, we're gonna turn on the NOS. Like it's about racing.
So do you think it was even a good idea to even do a separate
spinoff? I mean, spinoffs really don't work. Speaking of Tyrese was adamantly against the spinoff. He was like, "Why are we doing a spinoff?"
Because the Rock got into it. And the Rock does
took over thing. And he became, kind of like he just brought out the doggone.
Personally, I think
XFL.
XFL. But you gotta understand too, the Rock at this point, the Rock, I think they had said this man has over 200 million followers, so he's an
action hero.
Yeah, they already wanted to outline something around him. That's what they brought him on the franchise in general. I mean,
I'm a fan of The Rock, but like even like Vin Diesel, he's one of the main ones, and he's been there the whole time, and like he wasn't with it. It takes away from like what it was, and like now, like I get like I'm a car guy. Like people who like those movies, they're not all car guys, so you can't do just racing on every single movie every single time. But it sounded like they just throw like the race in there at the beginning of the movie, like, oh, here you go. Like, So I mean, I get it has to change, but like now they're talking about going into space, and it's just like.
But that's the thing with me with Fast and Furious, like
making it like
you said,
Transformers.
they always outline cars because that made a good point. They always each year they always show basically the new technology, new cars. Again, it's still always gonna be about drifting, something illegal, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think after 4 was good for me. I'm just saying when he gets to 9,
I'm just saying, so two things, right? So in my opinion, I think that with that movie, if Jason Statham and The Rock wanted to do a movie, they should have just did a movie, right?
Mm.
And then let's not forget about the Tokyo Drift of Fast and the Furious. Where you had Bow Wow as lead.
We don't count that one.
We bringing up movies.
They said we got Luda.
Let's not bring the Bow Wow spinoff. Where does that fit in the Fast and the Furious? You know,
well, that one was different because it was a different director. At the time.
Correct.
So, like, but like they really worked that third movie back in because it got so much negative fan base. Because people like this makes no sense, but they like the story. They switched that story up so much, but it came back around. Which honestly, that one was one of my. I like that.
Tokyo.
The drifting and stuff like.
That part I did like, but I didn't care for.
They tried to hit a
story.
It was different from the first two because Vin Diesel, they didn't think he was coming back.
Correct.
And so like they made that one, and then he ended up coming back at the end.
Did Vin Diesel do what like Triple X after one of the like in the midst of like?
Man, I was so young.
I was about to say because I mean, if you think of the movies that Vin Diesel's been on, really the only ones I really know him is Fast and Furious.
Yeah,
that
Triple X.
That and Pitch Black. Pitch Black was one of his major ones.
How that one go? I don't know about Pitch Black.
That was the one where he was over in space and he had the eyes. Pitch Black.
Oh.
He could see in the dark.
Oh
He could see in the dark, and they did a spinoff. They did the original Pitch Black, which was actually it wasn't a Vin Diesel movie. It was more about outer space and the monsters. And then from there, they brought in his character. He had a spinoff, you know, from that. But I mean, overall, I just kind of feel like with these movies, right? You gotta really follow the storyline because if you get wrapped up in a character nowadays, that character might be gone. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but what's your 3? You know, what's your movie that you can watch over and over?
Oh, definitely
again?
Too Fast, Too Furious.
Too Fast.
So it's a Fast and the Furious.
There's just so many one-liners and stuff in there. Like one of my favorite, like the Nissan GTR, the Skyline of Paul Walker came in at the first race, and he's like, "You got 5 minutes." Ludacris talking about you had to get there.
Like literally when we were kids, and say if I'm hitting up JJ at his house and he's watching that movie, he would talk about the cars. I'd be like, yeah,
man. And not even talking about the cars.
That started my whole passion for cars and everything.
I mean, it is like you said, it's a franchise. Hey, that will never go to waste. Now, there's so many franchises that do continue to still go. You got Transformers, you got Star Wars, you got.
But even Transformers switched up. You know, you're saying you went from Shia LaBeouf to now they're doing Mark Wahlberg.
And he did one. I think
he did like 3. He did like 2 of them. He did at least 2 of them.
I'm telling you, y'all need all these extra movies, man. I can't. I'm good after 3. I'm really good after 3. Once it gets to like 8 and 9.
But I will simply say, we were talking about, you know, Star Wars prior to, like, to me, they had the episodes of 4, 5, and 6. They started it. Then they went to 1, 2, 3. Then they did the one that brought it all together, which was the one where they went and blew up the Death Star. You know what I'm saying? Like, they all, to me, I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but I understand the movies. And the movies, to me, they're interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like that in the future, what if type thing, you know? So, I mean, I like it.
I mean, I think that was a good... It makes me miss going to movies more.
Yeah,
just
it really does.
The experience of movies, like, that's something.
Especially
when
like a new horror
or the build up, like Black Panther when that came out, like the build up to that. Man, like
that was the first time I ever realized. What? They're sold out? The movie theater can get sold out? Like, it was my first time, man. I had to reserve a ticket for the next day.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with you in a second.
All right, welcome back to the R Smooth Club. So we want to shift gears just a little bit. So I got a question for you guys. So, in the past we talked about, all right, if you could talk to the younger you, like what would you have done, right? But let's shift it up a little bit, right? So one of the things that we talk about in 2020 is it has changed your perspective, right? So let's look into the future, right? So 5 years from now, where do you see yourself? And kind of what are you doing now to kind of position yourself to be what you think you're going to be in 5 years?
Well, I mean, I try to work hard as much as I can now, so I can be, of course, financially stable. I'm engaged now, so I plan to still be married to the same woman I'm engaged to.
Children?
Children?
No, does she feel that same way? All right,
the air.
She feels the same way. Okay, all right, okay.
Hey, I'm speaking.
We'll see how it is in 5 years. Okay.
Again, just making my parents proud. That's always, I always say that whichever year. I'm like, hey, I want to work hard, make my parents proud. They put their time, their effort to raise me, all that good stuff. So I definitely want to do that. Live a healthy life. That's something I struggle with. I try to stay active as much as I can, but hey, I want to stay active. My goal is to, continue to live on, get used to the new norm and get used to what, the world has for me in 5 years. So, in 5 years, hey, I'm financially stable, married, successful, healthy. That's, I want to say rich because I always say money.
That's subjective.
Yeah, money is
a subjective term.
Success,
what is rich?
Exactly. So I always say just successful, and
you could be rich and full of daggone debt.
I'm saying what?
Yeah,
like 400 plus.
Yeah, same goals. One thing I got to start thinking about is retirement.
Okay.
So that's a key thing that's coming up right now. Just trying to plan for the future
Hey,
retirement.
how old are you? No, I'm messing with you.
I'm older. Not old, older. There's a difference.
So yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like just health. I mean, that's a big thing these days, especially among African American men. It's just keeping our bodies able,
Yeah, because we have the lowest, as far as life. We die the youngest. So definitely got to be thinking of that.
Definitely keep building, growing, not getting complacent. Owning a business, running and being able to have something that's mine, my baby, like all you guys, you have your little baby that you just keep growing. And like, I think just getting in, having that tight group of guys you can go into business with, because it's a lot easier to go into business with your people that
like yourself.
Your guys that you can trust. That's one big thing, is having trust.
Absolutely.
And going in with that business and just expanding, because you're going to be a lot more successful. When there's
I'm glad you brought that up, JJ, because that's something we'll talk further through in the season, with business owners and just talking about business when it comes to,
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like 5 years from now, I probably won't be in the Hampton Roads area. I kind of see myself moving to a larger city. I think to do what I do, I definitely want to do it where I'm, styling and designing, on a national level for celebrities and have my collection in other stores. That's kind of what I want to build towards. So one of the things that I always talk to people about, it's like the light, right? Like everybody always wants the light, but the thing about the light is fleeting. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be really aware of when the light is on me. If you don't catch the attention of the light, it's going to move towards somebody else. So you have to always be building so that when the light is on you, it'll want to stay on you for that period of time. So definitely continuing to build my brand. I'm learning every day. You know what I'm saying? I started this position I'm in right now, but at the same time, I understand I'm not too big-headed to be like, you know what? I'm 40 years old, so I got it. I'm still learning. And 5 years from now, I still expect to be learning. But like you said, I want to be in a position where I feel like I've made progress over those 5 years. And you want to have that circle that is constantly pushing you and challenging you. If the people that you're talking to, when you talk about your goals, if they're not going back and forth with you, if they're like, oh man, you can't do that, then that's the wrong circle. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to have that circle that challenges you. And the one thing I'll simply say is that if your 5-year plan doesn't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like for me, what I see in my 5-year plan, like, I don't even know how to get there yet, but I'm planning it out. And that's where I just see myself. So then within that, it gives me the motivation, because the one thing that I found out when I left the military was the military is very structured. Do this, do this, talk to this person, to this person. So when I got out, there's no longer any structure. It's now just me as a business owner. When I wake up in the morning, when I go to sleep at night, the only person that drives me is me. So how do you create your plan? You've got to challenge yourself. The only way you're gonna do that is if you dream big. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Would you say some tools that did you gravitate or just take anything from the military?
Oh yes, definitely. The one thing that I still do is I'm definitely a routine driven person, and I still very much am attention to detail driven. Like I look at every little thing. Now, I was talking about, a project that I had, and I was talking about as a business owner, one thing that you have to be able to do is duplicate yourself, right? Because you cannot be everywhere every time. But at the same time, yes, I still at least want to understand what's going on, right? And I use my uncle as an example. My uncle owns All Pro Vending, right, which is a vending business at Ravens, the Orioles, and they also do the Maryland Terrapins. Right? So one of the things that he does, he has been a vendor, guys that run up Beer Man for I'm 40 years old. So he's been doing that for like 40 years.
Wow.
And he still runs up and down the stands and delivers beers because he still wants to know what does the vendor do. He wants to have a feel for it. He wants to know it, So he kind of understands this new guy that's coming in. What's he going to experience when he comes in? What's the current atmosphere of the vending business? Okay. And I feel like, people always talk about, I don't want somebody to just tell me what to do. I want them to understand what I'm doing because they've done it themselves. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be that style of leader. And that's one of the things that I take into my business. I don't necessarily have to be able to do everything, but I at least understand everything. And I can at least, have an understanding of what you're doing. And I can relate to you. You know what I'm saying?
Man, well, we definitely gotta have your uncle on the show. That's awesome. That's awesome, and awesome just advice as well. Because again, everybody dreams big, but they dream big without even thinking about the risk that it will take to go to that level. Again, they think too early and say, "Hey, look, take your time, evaluate your risk, and all that good stuff." But again, I don't want to go into more details with the season. We're gonna talk about that further in. But yeah, that's awesome. That's all I can say. That's awesome.
I mean, overall, I think, the biggest thing is within this group right here, we have a wide range of ages, right? But at the same time, I think it's good that we all have an understanding of business, right? I think within our community, we have a misunderstanding of wealth, right? To too many people, it's make a little bit of money, go buy something that's expensive, and I made it. Right.
And then leave it right there.
And that's not, you are now just a higher consumer, right? So the one thing that I definitely think in this 5-year plan is like, okay, how do I get to the next level of wealth? Not just, acquire a bunch of items, acquire a bunch of debt and be like, I made it.
A one-hit wonder.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So basically what you got to do is just understand over the next 5 years, how do you grow? And at the same time, how are you a better person than you were, now at this point? But I mean, really good stuff, fellas. I really appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, we'll see who we are in 5 years.
Absolutely, man. I feel like I was just in a masterclass, man.
I know, right?
I'm just like,
take notes.
I'm like, where's my pen and paper? Next time.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you guys after the break.
Suffer from patchiness or irritation and want a fuller beard? Rugged Evolution features 16 amazing balms, oils, shampoos, and accessories. For more information, go to ruggedevo.com.
And remember, rugged is the new smooth.
Well, all right, guys. It's it's hard when you're having fun. You kind of lose track of time. But I hope you all enjoyed our season premiere episode of Our Smooth Club. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like button to Rugged Evo TV, hit all that stuff. Be sure to please follow Mr. Andre Marable at the Travel Pack Club, Mr. Dapper Luke, the Dapper Luke Collection, Mr. Jonathan Jones over here, okay, and myself, Arrington Gavin, and be sure to follow Rugged Evolution Beard Care as well. Guys, I kind of want to, end off what we're going to be doing at the end of every episode. I want to do a cheers to something, almost like a shout out. So I want to toast this one right here to all the small business owners, okay, that have worked hard and persevered in 2020, continue to work hard, build your brand, learn more, and just, hey, never give up. All right? Be sure to tune in on the next episode of Our Smooth Club, the show where everyday men discuss everyday topics.